The Hawks were up by 19 with 8 minutes to go, but needed this. Trae Young to John Collins alley-oop to close the door to get the win in Game 1, 128-124. Welcome to Playoff Central Live. Chris Miles here with the Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas and with former head coach of the Atlanta Hawks and former assistant coach with the Philadelphia 76ers, Lloyd Pierce. And, Coach, let's start with you. I mean, Trae Young, the story of this game, especially in the first half, 25 points. Hawks put up the most first-half points in a playoff game in franchise history. What did you see from them early and often, the pick and roll, and how they were able to be successful?
Well, I think perfect storm. I thought they were tremendous, and Trae leading the Atlanta Hawks, I thought he was tremendous with his aggression. He came out scoring, he came out assisting, and really collapsed the defense. And then their defense on the other side forced 9 turnovers. And so their offense was rolling. They were moving the defense. Here you see Joel having to come up the floor. And this is lack of discipline by Philadelphia. All 5 guys with Trae underneath the basket are staring at the ball, and you have everyone pointed out, and he fires out for a 3-point shot. Same thing in the pick and roll. You got to establish your defense and keep it going one direction. He's able to reject, get back to the middle. And he's finishing over length, but he's finishing over 4 guys committing to the basketball. And this was the play. It was a double drag screen where they're afraid to switch, Philadelphia that is, and you're forcing a third defender in Joel Embiid to step up, and that's why the lob is there for John Collins. And so his aggression with the pick and roll really set the tone. He's getting into the paint. He's collapsing the defense. He's converging the defense, and he was scoring. But what that does is a domino effect. As he's getting into the paint, becoming a scoring threat, and collapsing that defense, that's where the 3-point shot came into play.
Isaiah, you know a thing or two about playoff greatness, right? Trae Young now the 6th most points the first 6 playoff games in NBA history. It was incredible, especially in that first half, see him score that 25. But late game seemed like the Hawks lost their way a bit as the 76ers made some adjustments.
Yeah, the Sixers made adjustments. They started trapping Trae, and also they started putting more pressure on the basketball. Sixers give up 42 points in the first quarter to Atlanta, but they come back with aggressive defense, and they score 41 points in the fourth quarter. Now, what are they doing? They're picking up full court, they pressing, they trapping, and most NBA teams, believe it or not, aren't used to playing against pressure full court. Most NBA teams aren't used to being trapped and played out at the hash mark with this type of aggressive defense. This used to be a norm in the NBA, but today we see it now being employed in the playoffs, and you see they're able to, get 41 points, get back into the game because of their aggressive defensive trapping style. Now, of course, Atlanta will make some adjustments, but just goes to show you what defensive pressure can do to a team. They say pressure busts pipes, but pressure makes people turn the ball over too. And this is what Philadelphia was able to do in the fourth quarter. They have the athletes, they have the personnel. Look at that, full court pickup, trap, you're using the clock. I mean, this is what they teach you in grade school. This is what they teach you in high school. Now, Trae Young is good enough at the end of the game where he can make plays and he can make fantastic plays. But I think Philadelphia has got to put pressure on Trae Young. They got to make Atlanta uncomfortable in half court and full court situations. They got to be able to expand the energy and keep the intensity on the defensive side going.
And when you say defensive side about it, I think about the 76ers and their identity. I mean, Doc Rivers has to look at it like, we gave up 74 points in the first half. We gave up 128 points. 76ers, second best team in the NBA as far as defensive rating during the regular season. It seemed like in the fourth quarter they got that identity back. Coach Pierce, what was the difference between the first 3 quarters and that fourth quarter defensive?
Sense of urgency. They hit. If you watch the first quarter and you go back and you look at what Trae Young was able to do against his matchups, he was forcing second and third defenders to come into play. In the fourth quarter, what you saw Philadelphia do was they just brought the second defender and they turned the pressure and they said, we're going to get the ball out of your hands. We're going to make someone else beat you. We're going to make you play scrambled up offense. In the first quarter, Atlanta ran whatever they wanted, and they got into the pick and roll. They got clear down into the paint, and then they were able to spray out and make their three-point shots. So, you know, if you're Philadelphia, you look at that fourth quarter, you look at that second half, and you say, what do we need to do to impose our will on the defensive end? Because it does two things. It puts pressure on Atlanta's offense, but it also gives them an opportunity, Philadelphia, to get out and play in transition, which is for Ben's strength. How they got back in the game, they were playing up-tempo basketball, attacking the rim, and some of their threes were spray-out threes.
Yeah, when you talk about sense of urgency, right, what does sense of urgency make me do as a player? It make me run faster. It makes me move harder, right? And it also makes my reaction a little bit crisper and cleaner. So, you know, those are things that you really can't coach. Those are the things that the players are supposed to bring to the game. That sense of urgency, that sense of I want to stop you, that sense I want to play hard. Me as a player, I'm supposed to walk through the door, put my uniform on, and that's what I'm bringing you, coach, for the first quarter. I'm not bringing you that in the fourth quarter.
Right.
I'm going to bring you that at the start of the game. I'm not going to give up 42 points in the first quarter and then try to make it up in the fourth quarter and score 41. I think the other thing, you know, we have to, you know, be looking at here, right? Ben Simmons goes 3 for 10 from the foul line. They lose this game by 4 points. If he's a better foul shooter, right, this is a game that they walk away winning saying, wow, we snuck out with one. Right?
I have to ask you a question about
Yes.
that, because it was 3 years ago that you told me this same thing about Ben Simmons, and you pointed to Magic Johnson becoming an MVP candidate and Ben Simmons. So what is he can't just magically improve?
Oh, you can
in the
magically
series, right?
improve.
So explain. Yeah,
You can magically improve from the three-point line if you get your tail in the gym and practice shooting free throws, right? We've seen. Hey, Giannis was struggling early in the season, you know, from the foul line. We've seen a lot of players struggle from the foul line, and they get better. If you're going to win championships in this league, and you're going to be the point guard or the person handling the basketball, the point guard at the end of the game, you got to win the game from the foul line because you're going to get fouled, and then you can't make turnovers. And you got to be able to get a play for somebody else. That is your responsibility at the end of the game. The point guard closes out the game, and normally basketball games in high school, college, and in the NBA, you close them out from the foul line because the team is fouling you. You put the ball in your point guard's hand. He gets fouled. You go to the line. You end the game. If he can't make free throws, that's going to be a problem.
something we're going to pay attention to. Hackabin worked for the Wizards to get their single win in that series. Here comes Doc Rivers to the podium. His team, 9 turnovers in that first quarter.
Sorry about that. What do you take from the first half, and then what do you take from the second half?
Well, a couple of things. Listen, I thought they hit us in the mouth to start the game. I thought they were the more physical team. They were the more aggressive team. They played harder early, and they took care of the ball early. We didn't. You can't have 9 turnovers to start the first quarter and expect to be up. I thought that contributed as much as our coverage on Trey with us getting down.
And then second half?
We didn't do those things. I thought we started with a better sense of urgency. We changed a couple of things on Young. But more importantly, we took care of the darn ball. And so, when you look at the stats, if someone looked at the stats and said, wow, the Sixers shot 55% basically, and the Hawks shot 51%, and the Sixers lost, you're going to go to a number, and the numbers are turnovers. That was the difference.
And what happened with all the open looks on the threes that they were able to get?
Just us trapping and rotating. We absolutely can be better in the way we rotate it. Listen, we got a ton of looks too. It's one of those make-miss games in that department. They made them all. We didn't make them. But we can be better in the way we rotate it for sure.
Thank you.
Kai Carlin.
Hey, Coach. Just real quick. I guess going back to Trae Young, you started Danny Green on him in the first half. Was there ever a thought that crossed your mind that said, hey, maybe she's kind of go to Ben in the first half? Or was that kind of like you don't want him picking up quick fouls or anything in the first half?
Yeah, we had a lot of thoughts, Kai. Big staff. We probably thought of all of them. But overall,